What is up, Armada Maniacs? We are here to bring you another awesome battle report. We have our two opponents, James.
It's about to get awesome.
And Blake.
A little less awesome.
Let's go to the lists.
Spiky bits.
Now let's take a look at James's Imperial Fleet.
Alright, so I'm running an ISD-2 with Relentless, ECM, Leading Shots, XI-7 and Gunnery team. And I'm also running Demolisher. He's pushing Intel Officer, Ordnance Experts, Assault Proton Torpedoes, and Engine Techs, which is pretty much a standard Demolisher build. I'm running another just basic standard Gladiator 1 with Ordnance Experts and Assault Proton Torpedoes because let's be honest, who doesn't like face-up damage? The Gazani is actually my fourth activation, and I have him holding my Admiral, which is Screed, which allows me to spend one dice to change any dice to a critical faced icon, which is going to help me out with the Gladiators in the long run. Just to fill points, I brought in 2 fire sprays. They have Bomber, Rogue, and let's be honest, there's a lot of damage coming towards the enemy ships, and this is where the main focus of my entire list is overall damage and fast hitting, fast paced.
Let's take a look at Blake's list.
Alright, so we've got Hell Runner with her TIE Swarm. Minimal squadron points. I'm following James's meta Wave 2 list here as we move on to the ISD-2. Running pretty typical. This list is kind of focused around Constantine and proving that he's actually a worthwhile admiral. Not too much going on here that's out of the ordinary from what people typically run with the ISDs. Moving on to the interdictor. We've got kind of the base necessities of what an interdictor is going to need to be effective. Targeting scramblers, G8s, and then Captain Nita to get rid of that completely useless second contain. And then lastly, for my third and only activation, we've got the Architens class light cruiser with Chart Officer and dual turbo laser turrets, spitting out some damage and some mobility increased as well. So we'll see what the 3 activation does in the current meta of more and more.
Alright, so today we went with the minefields scenario, and what that allows me to do is place all obstacles and then place 6 objective tokens within range 1 of each obstacle, no closer than range 1 of each other objective token. Pretty much, if they land within distance 1 of an objective token, that activates the mine, hence the name minefields. So we've already set up fleets. He's kind of trying to bank around. I blocked off the entire center area, so I kind of forced a choke area, and he's angled to make a hard right turn, and I'm kind of angled towards a head-on collision with him. So we'll actually, it's going to make for an interesting game, and we'll see how it plays out.
As we get first turn started here, we've got everything set up and ready to go. Unfortunately, he kind of has complete control over the battlefield with being able to deploy the mines and obstacles. So I've taken advantage of the bottleneck he's given me. We'll see if we can't swing around and isolate some of his ships. The Architens is going to start us off, and I think Chart Officer is going to be a wasted upgrade card on this particular mission, as it looks like it's going to be free firing over on the far corner there. We'll see how it goes. Flying as tight a formation as I could, it was inevitable that I would set off at least one mine. So the Dictor is going to take it, and we'll see what he gets. 2 hits, of course. After the Interdictor ate the full power of the mine, we are in formation, TIE fighters going after the bombers, and looking good to get the shots we need set up to get his fleet isolated and controlled with Constantine.
So at the same time though, I'm set up at a full angle to avoid all mines in the minefield scenario, and still face this fleet head on with my broadsides on my gladiators, which is going to be the strongest point of my fleet, still having full access to his entire fleet. I have the fire sprays just kind of put out front to lock up his TIE fighters because, let's be honest, I don't need his TIE fighters taking any pot shots at my fleet.
Top of turn 2, here we are. We've got me flying in formation, hopefully going to be able to isolate some of his gladiators up front, knock those down real quick.
Yeah, well, I have my ISD coming up in the back, speed 3, and my gladiator slowed down in the front, so good luck just singling those out because he's going to be hitting a smack dab wall of pure ammunition.
Fortunately, we have Constantine to mitigate that exact fact, so we'll see what Screed can do for you. Bottom of turn 2, couldn't continue the formation. Unfortunately, the bases wouldn't let me fly it. But his gladiator was able to, or his demolisher rather, was able to get the one red to go through and pink the front shield of the interdictor, and we each have one of those squadrons with 1 health left.
Yeah, he did 5 damage on my fire spray, but I feel 1 damage on his interdictor is a lot better than 5 damage on my fire spray.
5 engineering always helps. Top of turn 3. We've got both of his gladiators within range 5 of
About to mess him up.
medium to large ships, which allow me to activate Constantine at the beginning of the round, slowing both of his gladiators down to speed 1. Give me the money shot that I've been waiting for. Here we go.
Too bad for engine techs. Alright, so what happened here was I activated Demolisher. I shot 2 red at his interdictor, but prior to that, he activated his G8 upgrade card, which slowed me down to a speed 0. I had a navigate command, so I sped back up to speed 1, which also allowed me to use my engine techs to do an additional speed 1 maneuver, which brought me into black range. So now I'm going to do my Demolisher attack of 4 black dice at range 1. I got 2 hits and a blank, so I'm going to use Ordnance Experts to re-roll these 3. Alright, and then I got another black, so now I'm going to use Screed to swap out this blank for another hit crit, and I'm going to kick off Assault Proton Torpedoes to do 1 face-up damage and then 6 additional damage.
Before you do that, during the Resolve Defense Tokens step, I'm going to activate Targeting Scrambler on the interdictor and force you to re-roll those 3 dice.
Alright, so I'll re-roll these 3 dice. And then now I'll do, once again, Assault Proton Torpedoes for 1 face-up damage, and then now 3 damage.
Yep, I do not have Damage Control Officer, so I'll eat that face-up damage and
Take 3 to the front unless you redirect.
I'll brace and redirect.
So 2.
My face-up damage card. Choose and discard one of your defense tokens, then flip this card face down. Definitely going to be my second contain.
Alright, so bottom of turn 3, he was able to knock out both my fire sprays, which freed up his squadrons. In the process, I took out his last TIE Fighter squadron that had 1 hit point left. Not a big accomplishment. But the accomplishment in this round was he was able to put 1 little ping shot from... What's her face?
Hell Runner?
Yeah.
The real accomplishment was getting you set up into position to do damage and face this next round. Turn 4, here we go. We've got everything in position. I'm going to start the game off, or start this round off. I'm going to ram everything to keep both of my ships out of range of his ISD, give me the perfect shots that I want, and let the Architans in the background clean it up.
But you know what? Let him ram me and put all of his ships in range of my ISD's long range because, let's be honest, I have gunnery team.
4 blue dice gone from that shot while I get my collection on the gladiators.
So my gladiator is getting 2 different shots off, front arc and side arc, on his interdictor. Here is the first roll from the front. I have hit crit, 2 hits, and a single. So I will keep it there and give him the option. At the same time, I'm kicking off assault proton torpedoes.
Well, shit. So I can use targeting scrambler, but I've got another side shot coming at me that's got more black dice. So I'm probably going to go ahead and save it for that. In the meantime, I'll eat the APT shot, and
1 face up.
we will brace it down. Flapjacks, man, that's 5 shots. Yeah, I don't really have a choice. You know what, let's go ahead and redirect this first one, and we'll see how this next one goes. So I'll take 3 on the front and 2 on the side. Go ahead and roll your next shot.
Alright, so I'm about to take my second shot with my side arc, 4 black dice, at his front arc. Got a blank, so Ordnance Experts. And then I'll spend Screed to change that to 6.
So because targeting scrambler is used during the spend defense token step, now that he has completely resolved the attack, I will spend targeting scrambler, exhaust it, and force you to reroll those 3.
Alright, so re-rolling. And I will kick off Assault Proton Torpedoes, which will do 1 face up, and then you have 2 damage to deal with.
Alright, we've got the ISD in position and activated. We've got a Concentrate Fire Command, which allows me to add 1 dice. I'm going to choose a blue to help out with my leading shots. And we're firing at the gladiator directly in front of me. We've got 2 accuracies. He has 2 remaining defense tokens from what the Architens did to him earlier. And I am showing plenty of damage.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage with the critical. I can't use any of my defense tokens, so that takes this gladiator out. Alright, so my first shot with a Concentrate Fire Command is going to be from my ISD to his interdictor. He's only got 5 health left, but he has all of his defense tokens, so let's see how it plays out. Alright, and I will leave it as is. We're looking at 2, 4, 6, 7 damage, and I will Intel Officer his brace.
So with that said, I will brace, evade, and contain. So I'll evade 1 of the red, brace it down to 3, trash my brace, and because I have none on the front, I will contain the crit, and that's that.
So the end of turn 4, and I lost a gladiator. It's a pretty tragic event. But the good news is I put a hurting on his interdictor. He has 2 health left. My Demolisher, on the other hand, only has 3 health left. He's first to activate, so this is going to make for an interesting 5th round. Well, this is probably going to make or break the rest of the game.
Top of turn 5, I'm looking at continuing to use Constantine, the tractor beams, and my G8 experimental projectors to continue to control the battlefield. It's worked out well for me so far. I've got to activate the interdictor first, or it's going to pop real quick, and we'll see what this interdictor, or the ISD, can do to the remainders of my fleet.
So I revealed a Concentrate Fire Command, which I'm not going to use on this shot because my first shot, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the front arc of my ISD to the front arc of his interdictor. So,
Which just dropped Demolisher, by the way.
Which, yeah, absolutely, it killed Demolisher. So I will spend a blue dice, which is this hit, to re-roll both of these for an additional 2, 4, 5, and I will accuracy your brace.
Okay. I will activate my targeting scrambler to make you re-roll the accuracy and 2 reds and the crit.
Okay, re-rolling. So now you're looking at another 5 damage, all crits with 1 accuracy.
So 1 accuracy
Accuracy, the brace again.
to my brace, and I believe
That
with
kills
3 health on him, 1 on the front, you kill me by 1. Yep, you got me.
Second shot from the ISD is going to be against the front of his ISD, which has no shields. I'm using my Concentrate Fire command, which is going to allow me to add an extra blue dice. And I also still have a Concentrate Fire token, which is going to allow me to re-roll if I need to. So let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Well, I will go ahead and spend my Concentrate Fire token to re-roll this red. And then that's it. So I'm looking at 2, 4, 6 damage. And actually, I'll spend this one to make this one a critical, which gives me 8, and I will accuracy his brace.
My brace. So obviously going to spend the redirect and the contain.
XI7, you can only redirect 1.
So I'll take 1 to the side. I have no shields on the front, so that leaves me with 5. Is that
2,
correct?
4, 6.
Top of turn 6, last turn. Things have gotten kind of brutal. All accessory ships, except for the Gazanti and Architans, are gone from the board, and the ISDs are doing their face-off. Fortunately for me, I have first turn, so I get to do a double take on his ISD. Maybe get it off the board, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. ISD activation. We're going to go ahead and take the side shot at his front first, hopefully to get him to use some defense tokens. We'll see how it goes. I'll take it, and I will intel officer your brace.
Alright. I will use the contain,
All right.
and I will eat the 5 damage to take me up to 8.
Front shot to front shot. Fortunately, I've only got 3 damage to go. We'll see if these 8 dice can do what they need to. I've already used my intel officer, so I'm kind of obligated. I have to do at least 3 damage to kill him. He's got a single redirect, but no shields. So
I brace it down to 3.
I do 3 more damage, and you're dead. I'll take it.
Game over.
That's that. IST gone.
So it's about to get really awesome
Much more awesome.
for Blake. Not necessarily me.
We had a really good game. We've got the interdictor gone, the gladiator's gone, and turn 6, I was able to really take advantage of the first turn and get a nice solid double tap on his really clean ISD, which cleaned it off the table before he could finish me off, which was definitely the deciding factor in this one.
In all actuality, I probably should have used a brace at the beginning of the turn instead of waiting for the second shot on my ISD. Because ultimately he fired from the front on his second shot, and it did 6 damage. Even though I braced it, it was still 3 damage done to the ISD, which was enough to finish him off. And being that I had no shields on my left or right side, he shot at the front. There was no way to redirect any damage, and I was pretty dumb.
Well, it's always an interesting game whenever you play these meta Wave 2 style fleets. We have left squadrons, more of the heavy-hitting XI7 Intel Officer ISDs. Makes for a much more fun, much more engaging game.
I mean, I honestly feel there's only one way to play an ISD or one way to play a gladiator. So unless you're going for damage, why would you do anything else other than XI7 and Intel Officer?
Yeah, the meta right now is definitely squadron heavy. It's a difficult call sometimes because as much fun as squadrons are, they definitely have their weak points.
It's not X-Wing.
Well, it's very true.
This is Armada. It is a fleet game, so I mean, no matter what, you still get 134 points of squadrons, and ultimately activations are where your main ships are going to get their damage from, because you can strategically hold back your heavy hitters with more activations. So
yeah, it's definitely a different style, different tactics that are used. I always like running the Constantine list because a lot of people...
Constantine's a beast.
Well, a lot of people rag on him, and a lot of people have their negative thoughts about him. In addition to a 90-point interdictor suppression refit, yeah, he doesn't... he's almost as many points as my ISD loaded out. He's, moving around the field nice and slow at max of 2 speed, but targeting scramblers is invaluable because of the way the dice are resolved. It can cancel APTs.
I hate targeting scramblers because you know what? That just takes gladiators and it says, you know what? I'm glad you have Screed. Now redo it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing, too, you've got G8, the G8 projections slowing things down to speed 0, which I utilized on Demolisher to finish him off. Right. But I was able to get the double arc on Demolisher before he engine-teched away.
Even with engine-techs, yeah.
Yeah. And
you still got the double arc.
And so those kinds of things are necessary if you're going to be running a Constantine list, those kinds of controls. And fortunately, I was able to use them effectively, but it's always a challenge when you play a player like James. He knows what he's doing. He knows the rules. And a challenge is always appreciated and much more fun.
And at the same aspect, Blake is only here every so often, and it's usually for maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks at a time for training. But every time he comes back, he brings a different aspect and a different ideal to the game itself, and a different type of strategy that we're not used to seeing around this area. So ultimately, when he comes back and he does bring a challenge to the table, he's bringing a totally different aspect and something else that he learned about the game, and he's bringing it to our tables and teaching us a lesson in the process, which ultimately, I was one of those players where I was like, you know what, the interdictor is a complete waste of money. It's never been an asset to the game of Armada. And after playing him, and this is our second game, both times he played the interdictor, both times I've kind of sat there and gone, man, you gotta give me that build.
Yeah. The interdictor is definitely underrated. It's more challenging to use. There are some good builds, some bad builds, but at the end of the day, definitely. I do have, like you said, I do have the opportunity to travel around the country and get to see the different play groups in the different parts of the country, how things differ from region to region. I am always appreciative of coming back here because this is ground zero as far as I'm concerned for Armada. This is where I started playing. This is where I learned. Definitely. And they're still rocking true Armada. Let's run some big ships and punch each other in the face, which...
Because, let's be honest, who doesn't like to fly black ships in space?
Amen. Amen.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for checking us out. We look forward to seeing you guys next battle report, and always stay stealth.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.